Lindsay is the head of household. Who will she nominate for eviction? Find out now on Big Brother Cheesecake for Office Wars. Hello, I'm Andrew Shevsik Moonves. Welcome to Big Brother Cheesecake for Office Wars. It's day 60 inside the Big Brother Cheesecake house, and this week Lindsay is the head of household. Who will she nominate for eviction? We'll find out shortly. But first, I'm sure you've all heard the news by now, and I know this is a little off topic, it's not Big Brother Cheesecake related, but I'm sure you've all heard the news of Dr. Will and Boogie. So for those of you who don't know, you don't really have to know Big Brother to know this, but they were part of Chilltown, one of the greatest alliances in Big Brother history. And they were invited to play Amazing Race season 33 last year. It was the one that was filming during the coronavirus and got postponed. They were invited to play. Now, Will has a successful career and a boatload of money, so he doesn't really need to do the Amazing Race, whereas Mike Boogie needs the attention. So apparently, this is all alleged, but let's face it, Twitter is accurate most of the time. Boogie forged Will's signature on the release forms. Then, obviously, Will found out. Boogie begged Will to do Amazing Race. Will said no. And then Boogie apparently sent very rude, offensive messages to Will, including ones that threatened his family. Not directly, but indirectly, and still, the threat's a threat. And so Will filed a restraining order on him. And now there's bad blood between them, which is just kind of funny. Now, as for Big Brother Cheesecake, Curtis won the Pooh Brown Power Veto yesterday. Now, this is the fourth time in Big Brother Cheesecake history that somebody has the Pooh Brown Power Veto. You had Chris in Season 2, and you had Jonathan and Nicole in Season 3. But one thing that all three of them have in common is that none of them, while they had the Pooh Brown Power Veto, were nominated. And so I never had that scenario play out. I've had, obviously, three very different scenarios with them. I mean, Chris won it in Season 2. He took Jimbo off, put himself up against Joe, and had Donnie learned how to vote, had learned how to type I vote to evict, Chris would have survived it, but instead Donnie's vote was flipped along with somebody else. Jimbo also voted wrong, and Chris was voted out second instead of Joe, which led to a whole bunch of other crap. In Season 3, Nicole put herself on the block next to Charlene. I think she took Amy off. She put herself up next to Charlene, and Charlene was evicted. Nicole survived. And then Jonathan put himself up. He should have put himself up next to Julian, but instead put himself up next to Lynn and was evicted. This season, as soon as Curtis won, Curtis and Lindsay asked me, if Curtis is nominated, can he still use the Pooh Brown Power Veto? I told both of them no, because when I originally created the rules to the Pooh Brown Power Veto before Season 2, that was the plan, that if you are head of household, Golden Power Veto winner, or nominated, you can't use the Pooh Brown Power Veto because you have to use it to take somebody off and you go on in their place. But when you plan something new, like the Pooh Brown Power Veto, and this is my creation, it's never been used in Big Brother Canada or US, it's impossible to assess all the different scenarios in which it could be used. I mean, yeah, you can have little dolls and say A, B, C, D, E, F, G in terms of who wins it, but ultimately, I think until you've seen the situations play out, it's impossible to know that your rules are perfect. Because, I mean, the scenarios that have already played out were unique. And so this is what brings me to my next point, which is I then thought Lindsay could, with that information that Curtis can't use the Pooh Brown Power Veto if he's nominated, Lindsay could nominate Curtis. Then Curtis can't use Pooh Brown, and if he wins the Golden Veto and takes himself off, or even if he survives this week, he then has to use the Pooh Brown next week. So it essentially screws over the other nominee, because whoever Lindsay nominates next to Curtis is screwed. Because why would you vote off Curtis when he's going to be on the block next week? So it's kind of a flaw in the game mechanics, and Lindsay's kind of the Nokomis in that way, that she sort of thought of that scenario. So I went back to the drawing board and I thought, okay, would it be more fair if, should Curtis be nominated, so the holder of the Pooh Brown veto is nominated, if he or she wins the golden veto, takes him or herself off, and then can use the Pooh Brown veto to put themselves back on. And right now, Chantal, Jojo, and Jonathan are totally lost. They don't know what a sapphire veto is, and they're like, what? So then I went through the pros and cons in my head, and I'm thinking, okay, if I do that, then therefore the other nominee isn't necessarily screwed, because they at least have a fighting chance, and Curtis could take himself off. Also, the golden power veto gives you automatic safety, and the Pooh Brown power veto puts you in grave danger. So if you want to cancel the two out, that should be okay. If Curtis is nominated, wins the golden veto, but decides to take himself off and then use the Pooh Brown power veto to put himself back on, why shouldn't he be allowed to do that? He's still putting himself in danger. Because really, the whole point of the Pooh Brown power veto is that you have to sit on the block on eviction night in one of the next 4 evictions, and in this case 2, because there's only 2 weeks left of eligibility. So I thought, you know what, it's kind of the right move. But because the predetermined rule prior to the start of the season was that the nominee can't use the Pooh Brown power veto automatically. And then I also thought, okay, if it's 4 weeks, like let's say somebody wins it early on, like Nicole did. If it's 4 weeks, then hypothetically, head of households, the first 3 head of households in a row could just nominate the Pooh Brown power veto on purpose to screw them over, force them to carry it over, and screw over and use them as a pawn to screw over somebody else. So I thought, okay, I cannot unilaterally change the rule. Well, I could, but it wouldn't be fair, because I told Lindsay and Curtis and everybody that if you're a nominee, you cannot use the Pooh Brown power veto on yourself. And I went back into season 3 to check what happened, because I could have sworn Jonathan was nominated the first week that he had the Pooh Brown power veto, but no, Jojo was HOH and put up Julian and Lynn. And Jonathan, I think, should have used it that week to take Julian off and go and sit next to Lynn. Or the other way around, take Lynn off and sit next to Julian. Although, no, sorry, Julian won the veto. That's why he didn't. Okay, that's why he didn't. Fine. But I was surprised that Jojo didn't nominate Jonathan to screw him over, but I guess he was still working with him. So long story short, I then asked all 7 house guests, are you okay with me changing the rules so that if Curtis wins the golden power veto and takes himself off, or if anybody else wins the golden veto and takes him off, that he can put himself back on in the same week? And 5 of the 7 people, I can't remember who the 2 were that didn't respond, or 6? I believe 6. Let me quickly count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, Brazil said it's your game, do what you want, but okay. 5, that's basically a yes, and 6. So 6 of the 7 people, 6 of the 7 house guests did say yes. And so, if Lindsay should nominate Curtis this week, he can use the Pooh Brown power veto if he comes off. If he doesn't win the veto or is not removed from the veto and he stays on, then he can't use it because he's already on. The whole point is you have to use it to take somebody off. Okay. I know, sorry. Complicated. Now let's... Holy shit, the time. Now let's get to the rules for a special luxury competition. The first ever Big Brother luxury competition is called Big Brother Mario Kart. And here's how it works. Tomorrow, so Kat and I, we have a tradition. We go to Red Lobster because we both love Red Lobster. It's on my rotation of restaurants that I love, along with Cheesecake Factory, Olive Garden, Sugo, and Baton Rouge used to be on there. Now it's kind of recurring. But anyway, so Kat and I used to go to Red Lobster. Since the pandemic, we haven't been able to go. We thought that Doug Ford was going to open up restaurants with social distancing across all of Ontario, but GTA was excluded. So we decided, since we can't wait anymore, then on Saturday I'm going to get Red Lobster to go and bring it to her place and have a socially distant garden party. But we're still on the fence as to whether to do Red Lobster or just say fuck it and get Arby's again, because we're both addicted to crack. Anyway, side note, the luxury competition prize was originally just going to be a $20 Arby's gift card. And I know Lindsay's rolling her eyes now. But you know what, Lindsay? You haven't tried Arby's, so you don't know. And you can't... Lindsay's the type that's like, I don't like lemon meringue pie. Why not? Have you tried it? No, I haven't tried it, but I just know that I don't like it. And I'm just like, oh... But anyway, I don't know if that's the case for lemon meringue pie, but I remember growing up when my grandmother made this vanilla pudding, and Lindsay just said, I don't like vanilla, therefore I'm not eating it. I'm like, but it's not just vanilla anyway. How do you not like vanilla? Whatever. Another Lindsay memory. Where the hell was I? Yeah, so it was just going to be a $20 Arby's gift card. But, I decided that there is going to be a prize that is a game-related prize for the winners. And I'm not revealing what that is yet. But here's how the competition works. So, Kat and I will be having Red Lobster at her place on Saturday. We will then go for ice cream at Dairy Freeze, Tom's Dairy Freeze, at Royal York and Queensway. And we're going to have a race there. Kat lives at Eglinton West subway station. Let's load the map. Kat will be taking either of the grey routes. In fact, she doesn't have to necessarily take the grey routes as long as she goes through the city. She cannot take the highway, which is a shorter distance, about 13.5 kilometers, but she has to go through streets with lights and traffic. I will be taking the blue route. This is the highway, Allen Road 401, 427 QEW, but it's longer geographically, 30.5 kilometers, and I have to actually go sort of around the perimeter of the city. Yes, so we're going to race there, and whoever gets in line at Dairy Freeze first will win. I will be turning on the Facebook video chat so everybody can watch the two of us as we race. And what you all have to do is you have to pick your pony. Do you think Team Cat is going to win, or do you think Team Andrew is going to win? Team Cat obviously is voting on herself. She has to, otherwise she would throw it like she's thrown everything this season. Whoops! And if you vote for the correct team, you will win the luxury prize, which will be revealed later this week. I haven't decided exactly on the day yet. I think it's going to be, I believe, Tuesday. There is a maximum of 4 house guests per team. So, that's the time-sensitive part. It's first come, first serve. The first 4 to pick either team will get to be on those 4, and the other 3 will pick the other team. And even if a team, this is important, even if a team is full, you still have to type that you are on Team Andrew or Team Cat. Because in the event you win, the order in which you typed in your team will determine the order of the prizes, because the prizes will vary in terms of strength. Okay, so that is the luxury competition. Alright, now let's get to the nomination ceremony. This is the nomination ceremony. It is Lindsay's responsibility as head of household to nominate 2 of her fellow house guests for eviction. Her fellow customer service staff, CJ and Nick, are safe for the week because of the department twist. That leaves only 4 house guests. You have Kat and Brazil in accounting, and you have Marcin and Curtis in warehouse. 2 of you are safe, 2 of you are nominated. And just before I get to it, fun fact, Lindsay did tell, this seems to be a theme this season where the head of household tells the nominees that they're going up. And there is an official rule in Big Brother Canada and US that you can't declare your head of households, even though that's never really been enforced. Or sorry, the head of households can't tell their nominees, even though that's never really been enforced. I have no rule of such sort, but I do find it interesting that every head of households seems to be honest and tell their nominees, whereas you can just leave it a secret and piss them off. So Lindsay told her 2 nominees that they were going up, and one of them did not take it well, and they got into a bit of a heated argument, but I cannot, because it's DR, I cannot reveal which one, but it should be pretty obvious when you hear who the nominees are, who was the person who got into it with Lindsay. Okay, so, without further ado, let's begin. Brazil, you are safe. This leaves Marcin, Curtis, and Kat. One of you is safe, 2 of you are nominated. Marcin, you are safe, which means Lindsay has nominated Kat and Curtis for eviction. Let's see what she has to say. First I'll do it in her voice, and then I'll do it slower. My nominations are Curtis and Kat. I will keep it short and sweet this time. I read Star Curtis, you're a smooth hogger, fierce player, and have consistently proven yourself a strong competitor in this game because of your returns, so you've collected a number of really good monopolies, and I see that my demise in the monopoly company, so I hope to build some for myself before it's too late. Kat, you played a strong game and made a lot of friends. You're an incredibly strong person, and I've also proven you to be a strong competitor in this game. We worked together on several lines, but I never knew fully what made you run. I hope it goes without saying, this is not the person, but I selected both of you. Okay, a bit slower. Curtis, you're a smooth talker, a fierce comp player, and have consistently proven yourself as a strong competitor in this game. Because of your HOH wins, you have collected a number of really good Monopoly pieces, and I see that being my demise in the Monopoly competition, so I hope to pillage them for myself before it's too late. Says the person also with 3 cents. But anyway, Kat, you've played a strong game and made a lot of friends. You are an incredibly strong person and have also proven yourself a strong competitor in this game. Wow, you like saying the word strong a lot. Anyway, we have worked together in several alliances, but I never fully knew what page you were on. With that said, this nomination ceremony is adjourned. Okay, so Lindsay has nominated Kat and Curtis for eviction. Now it's time to get to the Golden Power Veto lottery. Only 6 players will compete in this week's Golden Power Veto competition. The head of household, Lindsay, the 2 nominees, Kat and Curtis, and 3 players selected in a random draw. If I draw the names of Lindsay, Curtis, or Kat, they will get to choose a house guest to play with them, a la house guest choice. This is the Veto lottery. I can't believe this is the last time this season we're doing this. So sad. Before I forget, this weekend's Golden Power Veto competition is a live competition, and the possible time slots are Saturday, 11 a.m., Saturday, 3 p.m., and Sunday, 11 a.m. Once again, Saturday, 11 a.m., Saturday, 3 p.m., and Sunday, 11 a.m. Here we go. First up is Marcin. Next, this one was kind of hiding. It is Curtis. Curtis, you will get to choose a house guest to play with you. And finally, I know one house guest really wants to play, but I think that person has Brazil luck. Let's see. And finally, let's go to this side with CJ. So playing in this weekend's Golden Power Veto competition is the head of household, Lindsay, the 2 nominees, Curtis, Kat, and Marcin, CJ, and a house guest selected by Curtis. Okay, with that said, who will win the Golden Power Veto? Find out Saturdays. We have the Golden Power Veto rules, Sunday the Golden Power Veto results, and we will have the results to the Big Brother Mario Kart luxury competition. Monday's the Golden Power Veto ceremony. Tuesday, the luxury competition winners will get their prize. The final 2 nominees will plead their case, and we will hear from Rai and Brenda in the jury house. And Wednesday is the next live eviction and head of household competition, where another house guest will be fired from Dunder Mifflin, evicted from the Big Brother Cheesecake 4 house, and lose their shot at the $400 Cheesecake Factory gift card. I'm Andrew Chefs Moonbest. Take care, and we leave you as we eavesdrop on the house guest. Good night.